So, yesterday we have started explaining the step-by-step how to get into samadhi. In the tradition of Chinese Buddhism, there are 9 steps to attain the condition of samadhi. While going through this track of 9 steps towards attainment of samadhi, one removes 6 enemies and one encounter 6 friends who are responsible. One encounters 8 friends who are responsible for removing the 6 enemies. Now, we have already explained that the meditation is nothing else but the process. Everything actually that we experience in our lives is just a process, nothing more. Meditation is also a process. There is no such thing as a sudden enlightenment. The sudden enlightenment happens only when the conditions for that enlightenment are there. Otherwise, it will never happen. When one understands these conditions, not theoretically, but practically with one's body and mind, one will be open for this experience, otherwise not. Now, we have already explained that the science of samadhi is not something mystical. It is just the science of the correct application of the mind to the meditation object. When we have mastered this correct application of the mind to the meditation object, we can learn to master application of the mind to all objects. And in that sense, all objects can become meditation objects. This is a condition of a realized man. Realized man is someone who holds all objects are objects of meditation. So his mind does not lose clarity and has no defilements. First thing to learn while learning meditation is this clarity of mind without defilements. Then the next step is learning the nature of the objects. Only then one will be ready for this experience of what may be called a sudden awakening. If this condition is not there, there is no question of any sudden awakening. Nothing in our life happens suddenly. Whatever happens, happens because the conditions are there. And these conditions have been taking form in a long processes. The Southern Buddhism, as compared to the Northern Buddhism, is emphasizing the practice of Vipassana. Because it is Vipassana which will enable us the experience of non-self. As the students of Buddhism know, the Northern Buddhism is not only emphasizing the emptiness of the self as the content of realization, it is emphasizing the emptiness of the all phenomena being the natural condition of the world. So the Northern Buddhism has the concept of natural nirvana. Nirvana is a natural condition of all beings. So the process of meditation is then understood as returning to this natural condition. For returning to this natural condition, the most important aspect of practice is naturally samadhi. So the samadhi is, the mastery in the samadhi is rather emphasized, and the experience of the non-self is then becomes more theoretical. And in this science of samadhi, what is emphasized is not so much the mastery of the different kinds of dhyana, but this ability of the spontaneous, non-distracted attention of the mind on the objects of one's concentration. So samadhi, as we have said, basically means, literally means, the correct application of the gathered mind on the object. Gathered mind in the mind which is not disturbed by any objects. If you want to understand the difference between the Northern Buddhism and Southern Buddhism, you should try to understand this very clearly. There are two types of wisdom and two types of samadhi, which Buddhism explains. The samadhi with worldly objects, just like breath, or like 32 parts of the body, or like color, and the supermundane samadhi. The object of the supermundane samadhi is signless. No sign, wu xiang. No sign is no desire. No sign and no desire is the suchness of all the phenomena. This is what is to be realized. And it must be realized precisely by this science of learning samadhi, of learning the spontaneous, gathered, correct application of the mind to the objects. In the sense that all objects are suchness. There cannot be any object which is not suchness. What does it mean? That the since suchness is the nature of all the phenomena, therefore suchness is that which transcends the difference between the worldly and the supermundane. This is the theory of the Northern Buddhism, which is very important to understand in order to understand the meditation of Northern Buddhism. When you understand it well, you can combine very easily the two traditions without any contradiction. Unless you understand it clearly, you will only get confusion. And it seems many of us have confusion in regard to that. So the meditation in the Southern Buddhism and Northern Buddhism is no contradiction whatsoever if there is understanding. If there is no understanding, there will arise contradiction. It is a rule. The wisdom is the tool for removing the contradictions. And the wisdom emphasized in Northern Buddhism is the transcendental wisdom. We are reciting every morning the Heart Sutra. This is the summary of the transcendental wisdom. The Southern Buddhism is emphasizing the differentiating wisdom. the both differentiating wisdom and the transcendental wisdom cannot be realized without samadhi. So when we speak about the practice of samadhi or practice of dhyana, which are basically synonyms, this practice of perfection in samadhi includes the samadhi with worldly objects, which is a base for the training in samadhi, and it also includes the samadhi which transcends the worldly objects. These two kinds of samadhis, they should become one taste, the taste of liberation. And the taste of liberation is precisely one taste, because in the taste of liberation the mind is applied to all objects with equanimity and with the contents of the mind, that means the mental factors, being neither in excess nor in deficiency. Northern Buddhism, precisely, rather than training in the dhyanas, which is very important and base for the perfection in meditation, emphasizes this development of the spontaneous application of the mind to objects with a mind which is equanimous, with mental factors neither in excess nor in deficiency, and with perfectly equal effort. The effort of the mind also neither deficiency nor excess. This is a condition of perfect ease. This is a condition of a realized person. So the realized person, as opposed to those who are not realized, is always in perfect ease because of this spontaneous application of the mind to objects without too much effort, without too little effort, with mental factors neither being in excess nor in deficiency, in perfect balance. This kind of training is being emphasized in the northern tradition of Buddhism. So rather than experiencing quickly the dhyana and using it for vipassana, perfect your ability of spontaneous application of mind to the objects. With a mind in perfect balance, with mental factors without deficiency and excess. When we can learn to work with this mind, live with this mind, we don't need to hurry for abandoning samsara and attaining nirvana. So, what is the training of the bodhisattva as explained in the Shastras of the Northern Buddhism? He practices the samadhi of vipassana. That means with differentiated object, in order to strengthen his compassion, because all beings are experiencing impermanence, and impermanence is the nature of the world. But he practices the samadhi, which is beyond differentiations. Beyond differentiation does not mean that he is not skillful in the differentiations. He is very skillful in the differentiation, but he does not hold to them. The bodhisattva who is not skillful in differentiations is not a bodhisattva. But understanding differentiation, one does not hold to them. For that, one has to become a master of this spontaneous application of the mind to the objects, which has to become his nature. This is the most important part of the training. So the emphasis is on this training of samadhi. And this training of samadhi is mastered in mastering these 9 stages that we have started explaining. We ordinary meditators, we can stay in a state of spontaneous application of the mind to the object not very long. But one who becomes a realized person, this spontaneous application of the mind to the object becomes his second nature. So he learns to live in the world without suffering. So with this understanding, we now go again to the explanation of our Shamatha training, which we are now undergoing with the help of breath, at least most of us. So the beginning of the training, we have explained, is the application of the mind to the meditation object. The meditation object in the tradition of meditation is called karmasthana or kammathana. Karmasthana or kammathana means sthana means place, karma here means effort. The meaning of karma basically is the effort. There is no action without effort. In order to make effort in meditation, in Shamatha and Vipassana, we need a place of effort. If we don't have a place of effort, we will not be able to make effort. And we have to make effort because we still have defilements. We still have ignorance. If one having defilements and ignorance does not make effort, no one can help him. Even a Buddha cannot help him. So the condition of placing one's mind on the meditation object and trying to maintain it there, as we have explained yesterday, is one has faith in what one is doing. One has understood that ignorance and defilements is trouble. As long as one has them, one will never be free from trouble. Because one has understood one is in trouble, one has faith that one can get out of trouble. If one has no faith that one can get out of trouble, one will never get out of trouble. No way. So we have explained that if we know we have defilements and ignorance and we do not fight them, that means we are lazy. Laziness is the first enemy to be abandoned. Unless one abandons laziness, one will never get into meditation. So, when one has faith, and we have explained the faith is a conviction that what one is doing is the right thing, and it will bring the expected results. Then one will work with enthusiasm, one will put effort into one's practice. Then, as we have explained, one will start experiencing the good things in meditation. Unless one works with enthusiasm and puts effort into his practice, one will not experience the good things in meditation. And what are the good things in meditation? We have already explained. It is the clarity of the mind and the relaxation, lightness. And these factors are conducive to happiness. Non-defiled happiness. The condition of the non-defiled happiness is as explained in Abhidharma Kosha, is one has contentment and few desires. One who has no contentment and many desires, he will find it very difficult to place mind on the meditation object and let it stay there. His desires and non-satisfaction will always churn in his mind. So he will not have continuity on the meditation object. If one has no continuity on the meditation object, one will not experience the lightness, relaxation, and happiness, fulfillment with meditation. Such a thing is not possible. When one has got the taste of meditation, at that time one will forget all other tastes, because the taste of meditation is much superior to other tastes. So, always remember, we sentient beings actually have only one aim in life, no exception. And that aim is happiness. Because we don't understand the real meaning of happiness, therefore we search for happiness where there is no happiness. That is why it is so important to get a deep experiencing of deep experience of the happiness in meditation. Otherwise, one will not be able to practice few desires and contentment, which is the condition for getting deep into meditation. Because all sentient beings search for happiness. When the mind is happy, it wants to stay there. It is the nature of the mind to stay where it feels happy. but because the sensual desires never stay, therefore the happiness concerned with sensual desires will always be frustrated happiness. The state of meditation is the state of lasting happiness, which one cannot experience with the senses. And the state of liberation is the state of realization, is a state of non-interrupted happiness. The best way, Buddha explains, to attain this non-interrupted happiness of liberation is to become familiar with the lasting happiness of meditation. Because of our unfamiliarity with this lasting happiness of meditation, our minds gets agitated and searches for other kinds of happiness, because it is not familiar enough with this happiness, superior happiness of meditation. According to all religions, all real religions, the real happiness is peace. So peace is the aim of religion. Peace is the aim of yoga. And the genuine samadhi is nothing else than the state of peace. If we have attained the realization, this state of peace becomes uninterrupted. So the state of clarity and detachment becomes uninterrupted. Now, yesterday we have already explained that when the meditator attains the fourth stage of shamatha, that means the upastapayati, that means when the mind does not leave the meditation object and always stays at the vicinity of the meditation object, not by virtue of dragging mind to it, but by virtue of letting the mindfulness, power of mindfulness, mature. We have explained yesterday, at the fourth stage of shamatha, the power of mindfulness has matured. What does it mean? The meditation object is not lost. At that stage, the meditator starts feeling more deep, the relaxation and clarity. Why? Because he is not placing his mind on the meditation object by force. He is placing the mind on the meditation object by the matured power of mindfulness. What is the condition of mindfulness? We have already explained. The condition of mindfulness, how do we know we are practicing mindfulness? Because we do not forget the object of our attention. When we do not forget the object of our attention, we are practicing mindfulness. When we do not forget the object of our attention, our perception becomes very, very firm, very stable. So the object of our attention is very clear. Because the object of our attention is not clear, our mind goes to other objects. So when the mindfulness has ripened, the object of attention, that means here in-breath and out-breath, is always clear enough not to allow other objects to the mind to forget it. This is a situation where one enters deeply into the practice of abandoning defilements. At this stage, when the practice of mindfulness has ripened, there is no tendency in mind of gross distraction. Gross excitement. The gross excitement has been abandoned. The practice of shamatha is precisely the practice of removing excitement from the mind. When the mind is not excited, it gets fulfillment. When the mind is excited, it has no fulfillment, it has no contentment. So the practice of shamatha, as explained in the scriptures, is especially for abandoning the greed in the mind. Because when mind has contentment, inner contentment, it can abandon greed. When we are fulfilled with what we are doing, we can abandon greed. When we are not fulfilled with what we do, we cannot abandon greed. the state of sensual clinging, which is the first enemy to be abandoned in the state of samadhi, is actually nothing but a state of excitement. The more one meditates, the more one will be clear about it. The sensual attachments are an expression of the excitement of the mind. And they are to be abandoned by one-pointed concentration. Only then the vipassana, the seeing things as they are, can abandon ignorance. Otherwise not. So the shamatha emphasizes the process of abandoning greed, while vipassana emphasizes the process of abandoning ignorance. These two processes should go hand in hand. But one will never be able to reduce and abandon ignorance as long as one has not appeased the mind. So at this stage, the fourth stage of the shamatha, the meditator gets the direct, deeper experience of the appeased mind, because he is keeping his mind on the meditation object by force of mindfulness, not by the force of dragging the mind to the meditation object. So he does not get frustrations. Because no frustrations, therefore excitement becomes very little. So the clarity and relaxation. So the meditator at this stage starts to feel comfortable with his breath, comfortable enough to be able to ignore the uncomfortable feelings in the body. Unless you're comfortable with your meditation, you will always pay undue attention to the uncomfortable feelings in the body. Please always remember it, very important. mind settles there where it feels at ease. Where it does not feel at ease, it will not settle. Now at this stage the mind is feeling at ease, therefore it can settle on the object. Because it settles on the object, it can tolerate the unpleasant feelings in the body. And these unpleasant feelings in the body, the pain, the tension, and so on, they are bound to come. No one who has learned meditation has learned it without confronting the unpleasant sensation, the pain. So, this is a stage where the gross excitement has been abandoned. One feels very comfortable. But when one feels very comfortable, it is very easy to get stuck in the comfortable feeling. There are many meditators who got stuck right there. And they meditate for years and years, even whole life, but they do not get any deep shamatha and vipassana because they get stuck in these pleasant feelings they are experiencing. So they experience pleasant feeling in the body and the mind, and they just sink into that. This is, even so they feel rather comfortable, actually there is no progress and nothing is happening. Neither shamatha nor vipassana, no progress in shamatha, no progress in vipassana. So it is still a gross state of sinking of the mind. So the very important at this stage is to develop effort to, when the object when one feels comfortable, the object becomes more subtle, to meet the challenge of the subtle object, to use the more subtle mind to investigate the object. Otherwise, one will get stuck. Many meditators think at that stage that they have no breath already but actually breath is there. They are only negligent in investigating it. Some meditators report that they have lost the sensation of the body, but the body is there, only their mind has sunk. And that condition is not a good condition at all. If one wants to enter into deeper stages of the purification of the mind, one should practice vigilance here. Without vigilance, no question of entering more deeper stages of concentration. So when the power of mindfulness has ripened, it is a time when one starts feeling comfortable, because one is not bringing mind to the object by force, but by mindfulness, which is connected with awareness. But unless the awareness based on mindfulness has grown, one will not be able to remove this tendency to sinking. The near enemy of concentration is excitement. Concentration is actually that which removes excitement. But the far enemy of concentration, very difficult to remove, is the sinking tendency of the mind. That sinking tendency of the mind in the state of concentration is indeed not easy to remove. Why is it so? One should understand very clearly. The mind of concentration is a deep mind. It is similar to the mind we experience in a sleep or in a dream. That is why when you meditate, all kinds of strange unless you pay attention to the meditation object, all kinds of strange visions and images can appear in the mind, just like in a dream. If you are not vigilant and aware, you may get lost in these experiences. So what one needs is awareness and the will to investigate the more subtle object with a more subtle mind. This is what will enable you to enter into the deeper stages of concentration. Otherwise, not. Otherwise, danger of getting stuck. So this removing of this more gross tendency of thinking mind is the 5th stage of Shamatha. Dhammayati, it means taming the mind. Like, especially taming this tendency of mind to think when it feels comfortable. Then, once you succeed in taming this tendency of mind to think, only then you will get the taste of real appeasement. This real appeasement is the taste of ripening of the power of awareness. When the power of awareness has ripened, the meditator discovers immediately, as soon as it appears, the tendency of the mind either to excitement or to thinking. If you are working with a breath, if you will be able to discover it, if it happens in the beginning of the in-breath, middle of the in-breath, or end of the in-breath. Or if you're working on the Northern method, in the in-between breaths. So as soon as there is tendency to thinking or excitement in the mind, it will not remain unnoticed. When the thinking appears, the awareness being ripening will allow the mind to develop the factors of will which will resist this tendency to thinking. Thinking is because the mind does not investigate the object, and effort of the mind is not sufficient. The tendency of mind to excitement again will be discovered as it comes, and the meditator with the power of awareness ripening will see very clearly how to counter it. by concentration and equanimity. Now, at this stage, the meditator starts to see very clearly that the right concentration is always accompanied by equanimity. There is no right concentration without equanimity. And because he understands this very clearly, his mind becomes appeased, equanimous, so he can watch very clearly the tendencies of the mind to sink or to excitement and remove them as soon as they appear. If you attain this stage of shamatha, you should be able to sit for a long, long time. And how it goes further, we will explain tomorrow. Too many informations without digesting may cause indigestion. So let us make a little break, and we will go to questions and answers, and